This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome back to Cinema Debrief, Episode 9, Valentine's Day weekend, President's Day release. I'm Garrison Rifen. I'm doing fantastic right now, but I know I have a co-host who is super excited to cover these three movies that we've got today. A cavalcade of stars in them, gigantic films. How you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? I would not want to be spending my Valentine's Day with anybody besides you. I'm excited to be recording this podcast. Luckily, after 20 plus years of marriage, Valentine's Day is still there. It's still a holiday, and we did some stuff. I went and got breakfast for everybody this morning, and we had lunch at my wife's favorite sandwich shop. And so, yeah, no, it's not like we didn't do anything.
I was a little worried because I was like, this is Valentine's night. Do we maybe need to move it to Sunday?
I mean, I told my wife, I was like, look, there's something extremely important that I have to do tonight. So we need to handle all our Valentine's Day stuff before then. And she was fine with that. So,
and for the viewers at home, they can't see it, but you've got on a Focus Features hat.
I do.
Your swag has come in.
All my swag has come in. This is the exclusive hat that you got for participating in the giveaways. So I think most people got this hat if you saw at least one or two of the films.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like different levels. Like you didn't get the $200 gift certificate unless you saw all of them.
So
yeah, this is
I
AMC exclusive. Yeah. So this is the very special hat. Shout out to my friend Scott McClellan, who I'm just sort of digging the knife in because something happened and he missed out on getting his gift card somehow. And I don't understand how that happened per se, but he mentioned it online. And I was like, oh man, that's rough. But I don't even know if he got his hat. So this is the exclusive. I like that we're both wearing cinema swag. You've got your Agbo. Yeah, you've got your Agbo t-shirt on. I love it. That's good stuff.
Producers of a film coming out at the end of the year, as long as
quite a big film coming out at the end of the year. So
speaking of big films, I got to see Hamnet this past weekend.
Oh, nice.
I got to tell you, I think you can walk into a lot of films being kind of cynical. Is this going to be a saccharine sweet film? I mean, I've heard a lot of how sad it is, and people cry watching it, and that doesn't really mean as much to me. But when I hear other people like you or people in our Discord talk about how much they enjoyed Hamnet, I've even got some other friends in other film communities talk about how much they enjoyed Hamnet. I went into the film hoping to see something that felt Best Picture nomination worthy. Again, I've not been in love with some of Chloe Zhao's other films. The Eternals was a dud to me. I thought just emotionally, it really wanted to be an emotional film, and it did not hit with me. Nomadland also was trying to be an emotional film, and it did not really land as well with me as I think it did with others.
Yeah.
And I like Nomadland more than I like Eternals. I think Nomadland is a better film than Eternals. But it just was that 2020 Oscar season wasn't the best.
It was a weird Oscar season. Yeah, that was a very strange Oscar season.
But Hamnet, I got to tell you, I was explaining this film to my dad. I think this is a really bad film to explain to somebody.
It's impossible to explain, really.
Because if you explain it, it sounds like a saccharine sweet,
it does,
stupid movie. But when you actually watch it, I mean, it's really well done. You can tell the leads have good chemistry with each other. They really care about the work that they're doing. Paul Mescal does a fantastic job playing William Shakespeare, who was never acknowledged to be William Shakespeare until towards the end of the movie.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They didn't. Yeah.
You get Jessie Buckley giving a fantastic performance herself.
Probably going to be an Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, it could be an Oscar-winning performance, but yeah, I was kind of blown away by it, and the whole last 20 to 30 minutes really kind of ties it all together and is the best part of the film itself.
Yeah,
the performance of Hamlet that happens on screen.
Dude, those last 20 minutes transcend something for me. I mean, because for some of the film, I thought that maybe Jessie was laying it on a little too thick in some parts where she was clearly in mourning because of events of the film, and her character was portraying that in a very dramatic way that just a little bit took me out of it, because I felt like it may be a bit over the top, but being someone who has not necessarily experienced the type of loss that she does, maybe that's how a human being would react. I don't know. I certainly have experienced loss in my life, maybe, but not to the extent that her character did. So it just, I thought a little bit over the top on some of it, but those, like you said, those last 20 minutes, the Jupe brothers, man, just home run for both of those guys. And Noah's barely in it. I mean, he's really only in it for the last 20 minutes, but dude knocked it out of the park to the point where I was kind of surprised maybe that he didn't get a best supporting, at least consideration. I mean, because we've talked about it before on here. We've seen shorter performances, like 5-minute performances, get best supporting actor nominations. And so I don't know, he was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great film. I'm glad I watched it. I need to at some point do an internal just like ranking of all these films, but I got 2 more to go on the best picture race.
Yeah, and I'm afraid I'm just gonna have to watch Sentimental Value at home, and I did not want to do that. But
man,
I just, looking at the calendar, the next time it hits Birmingham, I know for sure is not until March 6th. And I don't know if I want to wait that long. I guess that's probably when they're doing all the best picture releases around that time, but that's like a week before the Academy Awards. And I just don't, I'll just watch it. I'll pay the $14.99 or whatever it is and just watch it at home, I think. But it's just one of those movies that I wanted to, I focus a lot better when I'm in a theater. I just do.
Yeah, I agree.
It has to be something really captivating for me to completely focus in while watching a movie at home. And I want to honor Sentimental Value by focusing as much as I possibly can while watching it. And I'm just afraid if I'm at home, I'm going to be distracted by just like the ability to pause a movie I don't like to have.
Yeah. Getting into it, we watched The Town, my off-the-shelf pick from 2010. Directed by Ben Affleck, written by Peter Craig and Ben Affleck. And there are times where I had to pause the film, help bring in some groceries, dogs barking at some stuff. The dryer went off. I need to make sure I,
no. And that's one you really want to be able to lock in on, because it is so good. It is so good.
Yes. And I noticed those sequences where I was locked in on it. I was loving, and I loved the movie overall. But the sequences that I was locked in on, I felt better about than the sequences where I had to kind of pause and come back and do some things. I mean, the magic of the theater, it is a special, different kind of thing.
Yeah. But and still, what I need to do more often, and just my viewing habits of certain movies, is that after I see a movie one time, it's rare for me to go back to it. So I'm really enjoying this opportunity for your off the shelf picks, because some of them I've seen before, obviously, just because I've been on this planet longer than you have. And so just by that nature, I've seen these films more. So this was only the second time that I had seen The Town, and it really solidified to me, in my opinion, that it's Ben Affleck's best directing. He's done, the one that everybody thought he was going to win best director for was obviously Argo.
Yeah.
I think that this is a better film than Argo. That's just, but again, I've only seen Argo once, so maybe I need to see Argo a second time, because usually I just don't take the time. The only movies that I take a lot of time to rewatch are the Star Wars films. I really don't rewatch movies that often, and so getting to watch The Town again was really revelatory for me, because I'm like, man, this movie is something special. And I know we did an episode on my old podcast with a guy that lives in Boston, and he said that it's the most authentically Boston film that exists, which that's cool to hear from a guy that actually lives in the area.
Yeah.
Because those accents, sometimes as an outsider looking in, you're like, is that a put on? But according to this guy that lives in Boston, this is authentic. I mean,
Well, and I imagine, you got Ben Affleck who grew up in the area.
Sure. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
really helps kind
Yeah.
of guide the people towards something more authentic
Right.
in that sense.
Right.
I thought this was a fascinating film because I haven't even looked up the history for it necessarily, but it's clearly something that Ben Affleck knows about and understands. I do know that it's based on a book
Yeah.
specifically. And so you get into the kind of like there's a bunch of crime that happens in this one area of towns where a lot of the criminals kind of come from, which connects into another film that we'll talk about later. But there's
That's
some
right.
statistical stuff there that you have a connection with. But you get into the film and you get introduced to this crew with Jeremy Renner, who this may be the first time he's like, I have not followed Renner's career that closely. I've just seen his Marvel films for the most part.
Oh, okay.
But this feels like a big breakout moment for him. He gives such a fantastic performance.
Yeah, I want to say that his breakout was probably the military one that he was in about the bomb
I
squad.
think you're right. And that's Hurt Locker, right?
Hurt Locker, yeah.
And Hurt Locker was 2 years before. So yeah,
2 years before. So that was the big one that led him on to, but he's been acting forever. He's been in stuff forever. He's one that it's funny because when I see Jeremy Renner, I'm glad that his career has gone the way that it has, because he reminds me a lot of Ben Foster, who I felt like should also have a much different career than he has, because they're both like stellar actors. But Renner just has had that 1 foot above, getting himself in different types of roles and stuff where people forget how good Ben Foster is, but remember that Jeremy Renner is really good. So, and unfortunately, we almost lost him in general, but I'm glad that he's still around because he is a great actor and he is so good in this role.
Ben Foster's unfortunate tie to comic book fame is being in a terrible Last Stand X-Men movie.
The X-Men movie, yeah. He was Angel, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Angel. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
That doesn't help your career.
No.
Even if you're a good actor.
It certainly doesn't. Yeah, even if you're a good actor, yeah. I mean, Ben Foster's been in some great movies, but I feel like he just hasn't hit that upper echelon like Jeremy Renner did.
I have no idea what it's like to be in Boston, but it felt very authentic.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying that the plot of The Departed is authentic, but it kind of had that sense to me too.
Yeah.
That very, very Boston feel to it. The accent's obviously almost a cliche at this point, but you get such an interesting story with this Ben Affleck character. Again, it connects so much. Every time I think about the plot of this movie, I start thinking about Crime 101 as well.
Right. It's somewhat similar, yeah.
Who's a bank robber, but he doesn't commit a lot of violence in his bank robbery.
That's right.
But he's got a hot shot guy who's on his crew who does commit a lot of violence.
That's right.
Or wants to commit, violence, take people out. Falling in love with this girl he shouldn't fall in love with, and he can't go away with her ultimately because it's just not going to work out. That's what always happens in these films. You can't actually let them get the girl because, it's just good dramatic storytelling ultimately. To kind of have them both go on their own way.
Rebecca Hall was great in this also.
She is fantastic.
Yeah. Another Marvel alum.
Yeah, that's true. Iron Man 3. She's been in a lot of just great stuff.
Yeah, she's a great actress. Yeah.
Was she in that Resurrection movie or whatever?
She was the one that I think I made you watch one time that you were super uncomfortable with or just didn't like as much as I did.
Not recommending that one.
Not recommending that one, yeah.
But she is a fantastic actress. The Town is a film that I picked up because it was on a 3 for $33 sale. And I've heard so many great things about it. But it's just a fantastic little thriller movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it does a really great job for outsiders, which I would say the majority of the viewing audience probably isn't familiar with Boston. And so the dynamics, even between, and I don't even know if they call them boroughs there like they would in New York, but like just the different little towns that are mentioned and how there seems to be bias between each. If you're not from here, you're from,
Southie.
If you're exactly. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics between
people from out of town toonies and
and then there's even something to be said by the florist who Pete Postlethwaite, man, he freaking delivered one of the best monologues when he's got Affleck in the flower shop, and he's giving a monologue about what happened to his mom because he knew what happened to his mom.
Yeah.
Dude, that is probably top 10 monologues. I mean, and Tarantino films are known for that type of thing too, having, Sam Jackson do a really good monologue or something like that. But I think this one has to be top 10 monologues that I've ever heard. And what's really interesting, this was towards the end of Pete Postlethwaite's life. This was his second to last film before he passed away. And he's just a journeyman actor. He'd just been a guy, kind of like an F. Murray Abraham, like just a guy that has been around for a long time. Obviously, he was often typecast as an Irish heavy, which he kind of was in this. And there's always been that interesting part of Boston that we see a lot more in The Departed than maybe this, where there's like Irish gangsters that are, from Boston that rule the cities, rule all these little areas. And this guy was kind of that guy for the city that Affleck and his crew were from.
They would give him the money to launder it.
Exactly. Like he was a guy you wouldn't want to cross, basically. Yeah. And he was diminutive. He like a smaller guy, but he was still so intense that you were just like freaked out by the performance. Like I thought it was so good.
I was shocked.
I've seen him in a couple other things, but
I was shocked by his admission to killing the mother. Because I just figured she had just run away and that she didn't want to be a part of the gangster life. And, and so, she's like, her husband's a guy who's never going to change and I'm going to get out of here. And unfortunately condemn her son to a life of this gangster life, essentially.
And Affleck, because he obviously is an actor first before he was a director, he probably has that tag of being an actor's director. So he gives a lot of room in this movie for each of his actors to have kind of a showcase moment. I think Blake Lively gets a really good showcase moment between her and John Hamm in that one scene in the bar. I thought that was a great moment.
She does a great job playing a strung out, druggy.
Yeah.
Like fantastic.
So good. I mean, everybody, that's the thing with this movie is everybody's on their A game. And I think it's probably because Affleck has just the ability to know what space he needs to give his actors because he comes from that world. And even just that moment between him and his dad, played by Chris Cooper, when they're in the prison, just that moment that they're talking, really great. The screenplay is so tight in this. The cinematography, Robert Elswith, just some great, just overhead.
I love Robert.
Boston. Oh yeah, he's awesome. Some great overhead Boston scenes where they're coming. It was a love letter in a way to the city of Boston, even though it's about this criminal and his team, shaking down a bunch of jewelry stores and the big heist at the end.
Titus Welliver, who plays Dino DeCamp, he doesn't have a huge role, but when he is on screen and going at and sparring with Ben Affleck, I mean, it's captivating stuff. There's not action happening, but it's captivating.
Through the dialogue, we obviously find out that he was from the city.
There's a lot conveyed in that dialogue. There's a lot just bluntly told to you, but there's also, a whole there's a giant history here.
Yeah, a huge history. And you can feel the weight of that in that scene that he and Affleck have together. And then John Hamm, who's sort of the outsider, he's great in this too. Kind of a different type of role for him. I think later in his career, he's become a person that we know is really good at comedy. He's got good comedic timing, but I unfortunately did not watch Mad Men. That's the show that kind of put him on the map. Friends of mine watched that show, loved that show. I just never got around to it. It's one of those shows that everybody else watched but me. And he was a dramatic actor at the time, but I think that that role had some comedy in it as well. He's been in some good drama stuff, but this one, I think that he knocks it out of the park as the FBI agent. He's really great in this.
He's relentless. He also he conveys being this, you see it throughout the film. He's a very in tune, smart guy, knows exactly what these criminals are doing. Even at the end when he realizes that the girlfriend is not going to give up.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's character, he conveys it without even, he says stuff, yes, but you could see it just with his performance as well. It's just a very, very smart, well done performance. And a lot of that, yes, can go to the directing of Ben Affleck too.
Yeah, and you can tell that this was shot on film. It's probably not digital. So
Yeah.
it just has, and Elswit.
This will be the tail end of film, yeah.
Yeah, Elswit is a master at that. I mean, I'm sure Elswit's won an Academy Award before. I think he did for There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. He just one of the best cinematographers in the business. And just the grain of the film, you can see it. I mean, it's just such a great looking, and it feels like crime drama. There's grittiness about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that Affleck has it in him to make a movie better than this. I'm sure we'll get some more Affleck directing films, but
I need to go back and watch Argo.
I do too.
I loved it when I watched it the first time. I was also much younger.
Yeah.
But I really loved it when I saw it at the time. It's a great story in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to mention something real quick. Robert Elswit has 2 things coming out this year.
Oh.
Both that I'm excited about. I didn't know about the second one. The first one is the Untitled Punisher television special that he shot.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow.
He's the cinematographer for that, which I think is great.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little 45, 50-minute thing. But he also did a new Ben Affleck movie. I didn't know Ben Affleck was directing a movie this year, Animals.
Yeah, that's right. That's coming out. Well, I don't
Netflix. Okay.
That's the thing. He's working with Netflix a lot lately, and I get it. What's happening with Netflix and even Amazon Prime? I mean, they're giving huge budgets, huge budgets to these filmmakers to make whatever they want to make. And I think to the detriment of the film, though, really. I mean, not as many people are going to see it. I know a ton of people have Netflix subscriptions. It's going to be a flash in the pan. Nobody will talk about it.
Here's the thing. There was an article put out through Letterboxd and Ankler that came out a couple of weeks ago that talked about that aspect. When films used to come out, you would have a theatrical run, you do re-releases, you then go home video. In modern day, you do video on demand as well before home video releases, and then home video, and then you do a streaming release, and all those aspects. And back in the day, you do a television, like plays on TNT.
Well, and then back when The Town came out, you'd have a 90-day window.
Yeah, but in all those, probably longer in 2010.
Well, maybe longer, yeah.
But in all those aspects, you'd have an advertising campaign for every single one of those releases in some way. So somebody would be discovering it for the first time, or even going, hey, I want to watch it again for another time, keeping it in the public consciousness. Whereas the interesting thing with Netflix movies are they rack up a bunch of views, but they leave the public consciousness really fast because there's not a reintroduction.
Yeah.
It's not being pushed on you again unless there's a sequel that potentially comes out, but otherwise it's not really being pushed. So there's just kind of something fascinating there that happens with at least the human zeitgeist in America. Where those films just, unless they're Oscar contenders, they just totally drop off the map.
Yeah, I mean, and really the only way people a lot of times will take the time to watch a streaming movie is if they hear a podcast or they watch a show or something that somebody says, hey, this one's actually good, guys, watch this one. Because for the most part, when you're watching a streaming movie, you're going in with a preconceived notion that it's probably not going to be as great as something at the theaters. You just sort of think that. I automatically think that. Maybe that's just my bias. Like, I didn't expect The Rip to be that great. I didn't expect The Wrecking Crew to be that great, because the majority of what Netflix releases and Amazon Prime releases is not good. And so,
upon pumping stuff out almost every week.
Yeah, upon recommendation, people and word of mouth still works. There is still the thing with, and it can work both ways. It can be a negative word of mouth, positive word of mouth. So people are gonna, if you happen to listen to a movie podcast or you happen to see some show where they're talking about, hey, The Wrecking Crew, you guys need to actually watch this. It's worth watching, or The Rip or something like that.
Or Rebel Ridge.
But to your point, it's still a forgotten film pretty quick. It doesn't have much remembrance to it. And whereas with The Town, it's one that you can constantly hear people talk about how good it is.
Let me just posit this to you, okay?
Yeah.
The number 3 film for Netflix in 2024.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of The Union?
I have.
102 million views.
Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry?
Yes.
Okay.
But how many people on the street could you ask?
Nobody. You're right. Like, the only reason I know that is because I'm obsessed with this stuff. And so you're right. Like, The Union, exactly. That's the point. That's the whole point.
So, one film I'm glad did not wind up on streaming is the new Bart Layton film.
Yes.
Crime 101.
Crime 101, man. Hidden gem. I would call this a hidden gem.
I think it's going to go down that way in terms of audience at the theaters, unfortunately.
Because here's what I'm noticing about, as much as Amazon, because this is an Amazon MGM release, as much as Amazon is saying that they are committed to theatrical, they are not putting the marketing into their movies.
Well, I agree for most of them.
Yeah.
I will say Project Hail Mary, I think, has done a good job.
Oh, well, yeah. Now that movie
and that one is trending to 60, 70 opening. So
right.
$1 million.
Yeah, no, you're right. But there's like Mercy. I don't think they put the marketing budget in. I don't think they put the marketing budget into this because generally you want your marketing budget to be close to the budget of the production.
Yes.
I mean, you kind of want it to be there, which I think they are doing with Project Hail Mary. In fact, I went and saw Crime 101 on IMAX, and there was a 5 to 6 minute special IMAX feature for Project Hail Mary where we got to see a scene from the film. And then you know how they usually do the scene from the film and then the preview, the newest preview right after that. That's kind of what they did. And it was after all the other previews had run, after the IMAX logo had come up, and then boom. And I was shocked. I didn't know that they were doing that. I had not seen any advertising that there was going to be a special Project Hail Mary scene before Crime 101. So I'm glad I saw it in IMAX because Project Hail Mary looks fantastic. But Bart Layton, yes, Bart Layton's Crime 101. We need to talk about that.
So I didn't know I'll be honest. When the trailer for this movie came out, I didn't know what to expect. And I honestly expected this to be a dad crime thriller movie that gets like 40 to 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
Because when you get these gigantic big casts, just a lot of the time there's just a lot there. It doesn't work, and it becomes just too much. It folds under all that weight. But I thought this film did a really good job of balancing its 4 quote unquote co-leads. Really mainly 3, but you got a 4th character that gets inserted as a POV occasionally.
Yeah.
And yes, I think the worst part about this movie, if I have to give a negative immediately, is it is a slower film. So if you're not used to watching something that kind of slowly unfolds like this, and it is very rewarding by the end, but if you're not used to watching that, you might get a bit bored with something like this. But I really enjoyed this film.
Yeah, I did too. I think that the one thing that kept a bit bothering me throughout the majority of the film is I kind of felt maybe Hemsworth was miscast. This particular character that he's playing,
it's out of type. It's out of his normal.
It's definitely out of his type, but also I was just feeling that he didn't quite know what to do with the character. There was just moments of that. And that's tough. I mean, it's almost like when you're a guy like Hemsworth and you're working with a director who's kind of new. Bart Layton's not been around that long.
Yeah.
And it felt like there were some moments where maybe Layton as a director was saying like maybe slower, less intense, just because of this particular character is a guy who is a lone wolf. He, he does most of the stuff by himself. He doesn't put him out there much. In fact, at the beginning of the film, they show that he, as far as, relationship with women, usually he pays for that type of thing. He doesn't usually try and have a relationship just because he's in this world of being a jewelry thief. or just a thief in general. I don't know. What we see is mostly jewelry thief involved, but a lot of he's meticulous. He's sort of like
he's OCD.
He's OCD. He reminded me a lot of Michael Fassbender's character in Killer.
Okay.
Sort of just like you said, he's really locked in on the specific thing that he's very good at, but isn't good at just normal things like having a relationship with a woman, and just because he's keeping lots of secrets all the time. He doesn't want anybody to know anything about his past. Can't open up. So what that leads to, like you were saying, is kind of a slow burn of a film with some really great, I think, action sequences when they happen. The motorcycle chase was really great. Car chasing motorcycle, I think they did a really good job of. But I think when people see a title, Crime 101, I think the viewer goes in hoping that there's lots of action. And that's not what this movie is.
It's all mostly chases, the action. There's not a lot of
hand-to-hand combat
action.
Yeah, there's some like, fighting and but very little. It's mostly car chases and stuff like that. You've got Barry Keoghan's character, who is just, he very much reminds me of Jeremy Renner's character in The Town. He's sort of just he's just sort of abrasive. There was great needle drop moments in Crime 101. They played some great music whenever he was on his motorcycle. That rap song that was so good, just fit that moment perfectly. I loved, even though he looked so frail, I loved Nick Nolte in this.
Yes.
He kind of was the guy that was getting the jobs for Chris Hemsworth. And he also worked with Barry Keoghan's character. And I just thought he was great in this. It was a great role for him. It's kind of something like maybe you would have seen like a Tom Berenger be in that similar type of role, like an actor who is recognizable, who's been around a really long time, that you expect to deliver a good performance, but you're just kind of bummed out as the viewer because you can tell he's not well. He's just old. Yeah. He's old as crap.
When Nolte popped up, I didn't realize he was in the film.
I had no idea.
I didn't research, the whole cast.
Yeah.
When he popped up, and I know it's Nolte because of his voice, really, more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays that character in The Mandalorian. He sounds almost exactly the same as he does nowadays.
Quiller?
I
can't remember his name. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Can't remember that stupid character's name.
I have spoken.
That's all that guy.
Important there. But yeah, I thought he gave a great performance for what he can do. He has clear limitations, obviously, but he even has a scene where he goes, he gets kind of angry. And his voice starts yelling at one point.
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth's character.
And I didn't know he had it in him.
No, I didn't either.
He looked so frail that I didn't know that he could emote that way anymore.
He plays kind of the florist in a sense.
Very much so. Yeah, he's kind of if you're comparing the two films, he's very much like the florist.
They come together for a plan.
Yeah,
he gets the money. He disseminates it. Pays. I'm sure launders it as well. But getting back to Hemsworth real quick.
Yeah,
I thought he gave, or was giving, a lot of effort in his performance. I'm not gonna say it was an incredible performance.
Yeah.
You could tell he was really trying. The American accent, though, there's something weird about him talking with an American accent. It just sounds so off to me.
Yeah,
and he felt like he kind of slipped in between at certain moments too. When he was on the date with Monica Barbaro, there was a moment where
another person I had no idea was in the movie
either.
It was nice to see her.
When they were on the street vendor area, he says a couple lines where I swear I heard his Australian accent on that.
Yeah,
that part.
He's not used to having to do that, I guess. And I give him an A for effort.
Yes,
because this is not a performance that he's used to having to do, which is to pull back. This was a very you have to be subtle as this character. You cannot be flashy at all. And he did a great job, but I just felt like putting somebody else in that role could have elevated. I don't know who.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anybody else's name because I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. But
It was fascinating to watch his little ticks throughout the movie, though. I mean, the movie
Yeah.
starts on him scrubbing himself down so that
Oh,
he
yeah.
won't leave any dust or hair behind.
DNA or whatever.
Which we see a little bit of that in the town as well, where he takes a shower at one point to scrub himself down before going to commit a crime.
So funny that both of these movies have similar like instances of that.
Yeah. But then when he's at dinner with Monica Barbaro, he's constantly shifting his place, moving the fork and the knives, and making sure they're set completely correct, and fidgeting with his menu, and it's just all fascinating. He's trying to pretend to be this guy who's into high class stuff.
Yes,
he figures out that she doesn't really want somebody like that, and
right. Well, I mean, and that's the thing that. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm like maybe giving him a hard time for not delivering the performance but he does a good job of portraying a guy who wants to be normal,
yes,
but does not necessarily have that in him. I mean, it's just like he's because he's not. He's very good at what he does, which is
I hadn't thought about that, but I mean, the killer is probably a pretty apt comparison in terms of character.
Yeah,
the killer is a cold character that's calculated. He does his job, he gets out, and he moves on to his next job, kind of thing. And that's very similar to Hemsworth, but Hemsworth does want to be normal.
He does.
That's kind of
he wants out of and that's the trope. They all want out eventually.
That's the trap for him in this movie is, it starts to get him in trouble. Because he starts to branch out and create relationships with some of these people, and it's a very dangerous thing to do in his profession. I enjoyed just the times it flipped between the characters, where one character would be literally on the, at one point they're passing by each other on the side of the road, and then it flips to the other character's perspective, or they have a shot which will correspond to another shot from another character's perspective. And just there was some really creative filmmaking happening in those shots.
For this to be Leighton's second narrative, I thought it was great. I thought that, and what's frustrating to me is this thing's gonna bomb. Nobody's gonna go see this because it's just, when you look at a 2 hour and 20-minute crime drama, it's just not something that necessarily sells anymore. So as much as I am frustrated with the idea of movies directly to streaming, I do applaud Amazon for putting this in theaters because it looks fantastic. It looked great in IMAX. It's just unfortunately not going to get an audience. I mean, Hemsworth, I can compare this to Mercy only in the sense that you would think that Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth are movie stars that can bring an audience in. And maybe they're not. Maybe that's just not something that can happen anymore. Like Harrison Ford back in the day, you could put him in anything and people would show up.
Well, people don't care unless there's an IP or you've really got to build up buzz and anticipation. I mean, let's take Project Hail Mary for example. If you look at Ryan Gosling's career, recently there have been real questions about whether he can pull in men to the theaters. With the Fall Guy.
Well, the Fall Guy didn't do as well. Yeah,
but I mean, when Amazon committed to a big theatrical campaign for that, and it seems to be paying off now. We'll see.
Well, and the argument is that it's based on a very popular novel from a very popular author. Now, Don Winslow, for a certain crowd, like you mentioned, maybe a bunch of dads. Don Winslow is an author that is quite popular for that particular type of genre. This is based on a novella he wrote.
Okay.
So he's been around. He's a guy that's been around forever. Tons of books, but he never was popular like an Andy Weir. Like Andy Weir kind of with The Martian and Project Hail Mary kind of reached an upper level where I think that the excitement for Project Hail Mary was baked in the cake. Like everybody was going to go see a Project Hail Mary, especially with it being directed by Lord and Miller, Gosling. Maybe Crime 101 is just the type of film that wasn't ever going to do well.
Well, that would depress me because I really think this is this is the kind of film I love.
No, you're right. No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
Look, I've seen a lot of people make comparisons to Heat. I think in a way that there are a lot of comparisons
natural comparisons
with this kind of film, but it's not as great as Heat is. I'll go ahead and say that.
Well, and it doesn't have, whereas The Town has the gunfight in the streets. Yes, correct. Crime 101 does not have the gunfight in the streets.
Yeah.
Because our character does not even like to use guns.
Yes, we go after armored vehicles, but, well, sort of. That's really Barry Keoghan that did that.
Yeah, it's Keoghan. It's
the film.
Keegan's like, his character is just all over the place. We haven't mentioned Ruffalo. Ruffalo is the John Hamm. If we're comparing the two films, Ruffalo's the cop.
Yes.
He's got a partner played by Corey Hawkins. And a great Ruffalo performance.
He was originally played by Pedro Pascal before Pascal dropped out.
That's right. See, I think Ruffalo is so much better for that character.
I think so too.
Than Pascal. Pascal's too young. Mm-hmm. Like if you're playing this particular character who, and maybe they rewrote the script a little bit to accommodate the age, mm-hmm. and that he'd been on the force for a long time and had made some mistakes, and people and his superiors were kind of tired of his shtick, like his whole obsession with the crime 101, which the 101 is in reference to the highway in California.
Yes.
And so that's a big part of this.
Statistically, all the lone wolf crimes have been happening, but the department doesn't want to listen to him because they've already caught some guys for a couple of them. And there's a whole.
And so, his boss was kind of like tired of him. Like, it's funny because in thinking about his character here, it's almost like his character in the Fincher film.
Yes.
Very similar. Zodiac, because he's obsessive.
That's why when I heard that Ruffalo was in it playing a cop, I was like, he's fantastic in Zodiac. Talk about an ensemble performance.
Quite a bit younger then.
Yes.
And so I think the grizzled, and if you watch him in this, he's always sort of like hunched over a little bit, just like he's just conveying that he's been in this job for a long time, really. And he's going through a divorce in this.
Yeah, I was going to say,
characters.
He conveys that he's going through a divorce really before we even hear that he's going through a divorce.
Right. Yeah, and Jennifer Jason Leigh plays his ex, or his current wife, who he's going through the divorce, and she's in one scene. And it's interesting that these very minor roles were kind of, as Nolte's kind of well known. Jennifer Jason Leigh, somewhat well known, had like a bit of resurgence. Corey Hawkins being in this, and then the Halle Berry character, who is kind of the linchpin.
Yes,
we follow her character. She is an insurance, I guess,
insurance salesman, basically.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in a way for the rich,
like high level clients,
level for the rich and famous, basically for people with a lot of money. She goes into their homes, or in this case, events, and tries to insure the event. For Tate Donovan, another random, he's an actor who's been around forever. He plays this rich guy who's getting married to a younger woman, and they're throwing this big event where lots of money is going to be involved. And so we finally, as you're going through the story, Halle Berry's character becomes pretty important to really two sides of the story.
Yes.
To Chris Hemsworth's side and Mark Ruffalo's side, which I thought was cool.
Yep. Yeah, she becomes an accomplice for both at a certain point.
Yeah, at a certain exactly.
And she gets frustrated with her job. I don't want to ruin things necessarily on that front, but
no. Yeah,
there are events that kind of lead her to being an accomplice for both, and they make sense within the story.
I freaking loved and I don't want to spoil the ending, but I think this has one of the best ending scenes. I loved it. I just loved it.
I was shocked. So there's a shot of Hemsworth driving.
Yeah.
I was shocked that they didn't cut the credits then.
Yeah.
And then it continues to go on, and it's almost got like an epilogue.
It is a bit of an epilogue.
It ties up some things that we've heard about. A car that somebody likes.
Yeah.
A photo. There are a few things that just people have talked about to that point.
Because
it all gets kind of wrapped up.
That's the first time, at least that I can recall in the film, that you saw that particular character smile,
like
have like joy.
Yeah.
And it's such a payoff moment for me. Like I loved it. I thought it was a great ending.
I literally heard someone in the theater, and again, I'm trying not to, so I'll dance around it just a little bit. But I heard someone say, "That's the thing he said he wanted," or
yeah. So that's great.
Obviously that payoff worked for
I think it's a great payoff. I mean, some people would think it's cheesy, but I thought it was a great pay. I thought it really worked for the movie.
I liked the epilogue. It was what I'll call it.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit too. I just hope that, see, the problem with Amazon releasing this in theaters and it tanking is it could affect the director more than the actors. So the director might not get the big
Halle
budget.
Berry she got her money already.
Yeah, everybody, all the actors are unaffected. That's what nobody ever talks about. The actors are unaffected in a way, unless you're like Taylor Kitsch and you're in John Carter, and that tanks so bad that it ruins your movie career. But these are pretty established actors that are in this. So even if this tanks financially, I don't think it's going to necessarily affect any of them. Whereas Leighton, it's probably going to be tough for him to get a $90 million budget again. And you can definitely see all 90 million up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's not like the movie looks great. And
part of it's the cast, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's the thing, like, Hemsworth was serviceable in this role, but I'm thinking, like, if you paid somebody a little bit less, could you have had a person that was maybe more believable as this character?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Saying.
It's hard to know for sure, because I did think that perhaps he was kind of the weakest point of the cast, and he's supposed to be, the star of the film. I thought everybody else was on point. I just thought there were certain moments that Hemsworth wasn't pulling off this character very believably, because it's just, when you see him, it's hard to believe that he would be going through the things that he's going through, because he's just such the Adonis, basically. And so
but that is also mentioned in the movie too.
Yeah, it is. They play up on that.
People point out like how attractive they think he is, basically.
Right. And, that good job, screenwriter, for playing up on that, because you kind of need to, if you're going to have your audience believe what you're seeing there in those cases. I mean, I don't know.
I thought the limo ride was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where he picks up the person that he's supposed to pick up.
Yep.
And then they start to have an interaction between each other, talking about their favorite films.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Steve McQueen films.
Yep, I agree. There is some great stuff in this movie, and I'm bummed that it's going to tank, because it just will. The nature of the weekend that it came out on, I know they're trying to go for cross-programming. Well, I know they're trying to go for cross-programming too. Like, hey, all the dudes that don't have dates need a movie to go see.
Yeah.
And so it's a gamble to put it out this weekend, but yeah, I mean, I think the more flashy film is the one we're about to talk about. So
it's bad though, because I'll go ahead and point out there were 4 wide releases this weekend.
You're right. Yeah.
And the loser of them is going to be, I guess, this one relative to budget, but Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is going to make the least of all the 4.
Well, I think Cold Storage will make the least.
Well, Cold Storage is another one too, but I didn't get it. So we only have
Oh, you didn't even get that? Oh, I thought that had a wide release.
We have Wuthering Heights, Goat, Crime 101.
Oh, I forgot about the animated film. I totally forgot about the animated film.
Goat is animated film produced by Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And then you've got Cold Storage with Joe Keery and Liam
Neeson.
Not playing in Brunswick right now. But
I didn't. Okay, I thought it had a big. Yeah, it came to Birmingham. I didn't get a chance to go see it. I kind of want to see it just because I like Joe Keery and Liam Neeson.
But when Wuthering Height, which is not going to make as much as they thought initially, but Goat is making a bit more than they thought initially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're just there's only so much money that can go towards 2 films. It's tough to open 3 films.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you got notable smaller releases like Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which is not going to make any money.
No,
it's Canadian mostly anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not familiar. And apparently that was a show up there, and I'm not familiar with that. Yeah,
it was a web series.
Yeah,
that became a show that has now become a movie. to hopefully do a final season of the show. I don't know if you know that part.
I don't know anything about. I know that's the guy that did Blackberry, but
yes.
I don't know anything else about it.
Matt Johnson is a very funny guy.
Yeah,
I've never watched the show, so
yeah, I haven't either. So let's talk about Wuthering Heights in quotations. That was I think that's actually pretty important because it is not a direct adaptation by any means.
I wouldn't know.
To the novel. There's an important character that's not even in the movie.
Interesting.
Catherine's brother, very important character in the book, not even in the movie. Yeah, I mean, there's
Catherine had a brother. I mean, Heathcliff is her brother.
No, that's not her brother. There's a brother.
It's the name of her dead brother is what she says.
Yeah, there's a brother. That's really more important to shaping who Heathcliff is. So, anyways, but you know that's neither here nor there. Directed by Emerald Fennell, shot by the guy that's doing Starfighter, I think, cinematographer.
Oh, it's Sandgreen, right?
Yeah,
Sandgreen is shooting at least Dune Part 3.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, he's not doing Starfighter. He's doing Dune Part 3, or maybe
he's Chazelle's guy for La La Land and Babylon.
Yeah. Won an Oscar, I think, already, hasn't he?
If he did, it probably would have been for La La Land.
Yeah, maybe he. I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yes, he won the Academy Award for La La Land.
Yeah, so we've got an Academy Award cinematographer, and I think that's honestly the best part of the movie is the way it looks.
Yes, the production design.
Yes,
Emerald's Emerald's vision. I have to give her credit there as well, but also Sandgreen's vision in combination. The colors really pop. So post production work, the guys who worked on obviously with and again in conjunction with Emerald Fennell. They did a great job with the look of the film. It is the best part of the movie to me.
Now, what I heard, and luckily I got to see it in IMAX, so I don't think you did.
No,
I heard that it looked really dark in certain theaters that might not take care of their projectors.
Interesting.
So, like if the bulb's low or something.
I saw it in a GTX theater, Georgia Theater Extreme, which is our
your version,
giant screen.
So
it looked good.
Exactly. So I would venture to say that both Georgia Theater and probably AMC do what they can to make sure that those experiences are probably the best. Like they keep the sound system the best in those theaters. They make sure their projectors are the best. IMAX I know requires a certain thing. I don't know if they actually adhere to it very well, but at least in Birmingham, this particular theater that I went to see it in, the IMAX projector is always top notch. Like everything about the presentation is top notch. So I had no issues with it coming across as being dark. One podcast I listened to said that they were having a really hard time, especially when they're at Wuthering Heights, it being super dark, because that motif is obviously supposed to be much darker than the motif at the rich guy's place. And I think that's obviously intentional from a production design standpoint.
Yeah.
But I can see how if you were like in some side theater with bad projection, that maybe some of those scenes would come across as too dark.
I'm glad I saw it in a premium large format theater because whether or not there were issues in our smaller theaters here, I have no idea. I can't comment on that, but it looked fantastic on our screen. This had kind of that Fennell flair to it that I kind of am not in love with in certain ways.
Right.
The movie literally opens with something where she's trying to fake you out. Where you're hearing creaking and it's getting faster and faster. And you're thinking it's a bed creaking potentially, and instead it's the guy getting hanged.
It's a very what I will call a spicy film. Now, I thought it was going to go much further than it did. And I think that I appreciate the fact that it didn't. I hear some people complaining about that fact.
So that was the interesting thing.
I appreciated it.
Before I saw it, I saw people complaining that it didn't go very far. So when I went into it, I went, okay, well, I guess it's not really going to do much. And then it still did plenty.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, from a standpoint, look, your brain can tell you more than it doesn't have to be on the screen.
Yeah.
And I think Fennel knows that. She obviously plays up to that.
There are gestures made at the bottom of the frame in certain shots where,
exactly. Exactly. And so
there's all kinds of stuff happening in that film.
You don't have to show it all. You don't have to go all the way with this stuff. And I think that makes it a bit more, I think that makes it more spicy in some ways, because you're leaving the viewer to their imagination in some certain ways. And I think from the standpoint of Margot Robbie, and I don't know so much of Lordy, but I think Margot Robbie knows her audience, and she doesn't need to go that far anymore. She's 35 years old. She's been in this business long enough. She doesn't have to. I don't know. I feel from her a bit more class than some of that. Now, the age difference of the characters does bother me a bit. Like, I'll be honest.
Let me say, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's not the age difference romantically. I mean, because they're not, I mean, like you said, Margot Robbie's what, 30?
She's 35,
and Lordy's about my age. He's
27, maybe
28, 29.
Oh, okay.
Like actually, in a real relationship,
really, I
that's
thought he
not
was
an
younger
issue.
than that. Okay, well, I thought he was younger than that.
Right. In a real relationship, that's not an issue to
You're
me.
Right.
But
you're right.
But the issue for me is they're the same age as kids, basically.
Right.
Especially, and with that Asian girl. And then when they get older,
I thought she was supposed to be a little older. Hong Chau's
even
character.
If she's supposed to be a little older, she's still clearly a child with them.
In part of the exactly.
By the time they all get older, Lordy's clearly the youngest by a mile.
Yeah,
Margot Robbie looks great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but, but she is a little bit older than Heathcliff. And then the Asian girl looks way older than the rest of them.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the some of that, and then the guy that Margot Robbie's character marries,
Nellie. That's the Asian girl's name. Yeah.
Yeah, Nellie. The guy that Margot Robbie's character marries, I guess he looks about closer to. I don't know how old that actor is, but he looks closer to Margot Robbie's age than Jacob Elordi does. I'm talking about, what's his name?
He's 37, so that makes sense.
Edgar Shahzad Latif, who I've seen him in a couple things before, because I recognized him. What else is he? Oh, that's right. I saw him in The Commuter, because that's that Liam Neeson movie. I've seen. So he's been around.
Commuter. It's the first film I saw of Florence Pugh in. So
I think you're right. I think she's
great
close to her first film.
Not that great a movie, but great for that.
So I'm surprised that this movie's getting the amount of hate that it is. And I do wonder if it's from Emily Bronte purists, because it is not a direct adaptation of the book.
I think it's a bit from those people. I also think people have kind of gotten in certain sects of the internet. Hey, you don't know that the hate is mainstream audiences. It's not getting good word of mouth from mainstream audiences, but the vitriol online, I think both are book people, but also people who are tired of Emerald Fennell's shtick at this point.
Maybe.
Which I wouldn't blame them for. I mean, I honestly did not watch Saltburn because I just got so annoyed by the entire conversation around that movie.
No, there was a lot of annoying conversation about it. I think that the thing that you can say about Emerald Fennell that we say about a lot of directors that we respect is that she has a vision for her films. She knows what she wants, and she is going to be able to do that at this point. And I think that we should respect that, even if it's maybe not what we want as a viewer all the time when it comes. Maybe she shouldn't have adapted Wuthering Heights in this way. Maybe she should have just made this type of period piece and not called it Wuthering Heights. And I know she's got the quotation marks around the title, and I get the idea of, hey, this is kind of not Wuthering Heights. People don't go in thinking this is going to be the exact adaptation of the book that you're so longing for, that Laurence Olivier did back in the day or whatever. It's just not going to be that. This is going to be a subversive film in that way.
Tying back in, though, to The Town, Emerald Fennell started as an actor.
Yeah, she was.
And I
Yeah.
do think she gets really good performances in her films from her actors.
Oh no, I totally agree. I totally agree that she gets great performances. My favorite character in this was Isabella, who Alison Oliver played. I thought she was a hoot.
She is fantastic.
She also had great stuff, and she was in Saltburn as well. She was great in that.
As soon as the movie was over, I looked her up because I've
You know
never
what?
seen her before.
She's awesome in Task, that show on HBO that which we can tie that back into Crime 101 that Ruffalo was the star of. Alison Oliver's really great in Task.
I've seen none of the stuff she's in besides this one.
Yeah. She hasn't been in much. She's been around a little bit, but this is early in her career. Yeah. And she delivers a knockout performance in this.
I mean, she's 2 months older than me, so she's not young, but
no,
but she's kind of starting her career.
Yeah, young in her career. I thought she was great in this. I thought she was definitely having the most fun, I think, out of any of the actors. She had the most to work with as far as the ability to have some somewhat comedic moments.
She got some real laughs in the theater here locally.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I think that people were frustrated by the humor, maybe, because
I thought that was one of the better. To me, that was one of the better aspects.
I think so too, but perhaps, and I haven't read Wuthering Heights before.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I, from what I understand, it's not much of a humorous book. Like, there's not much humor in the book. I don't think it's supposed to have that at all. It's supposed to just be a torn lovers, Romeo and Juliet type thing, basically. But, oh lordy, I can't decide about this guy. What do you think about him?
I think he's pretty good in this film.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
But he plays such a demented character.
He does play, but his demented attitude is sort of brought out by what he's going through. I don't think that he started as a demented person.
No. In fact, he starts off very sweet. I mean, for what he,
his character is put through the ringer, really. And so that draws out this really evil side of him. As far as Heathcliff is concerned.
Yeah.
And so it makes you hard to root for anybody. Because even Isabella.
I think by the end, I was like, even though she messed up, Nellie is probably the best character in the movie.
Well, but
one or the other.
I think the husband's probably the best character. Like, as far as, I think even Nellie was a bit evil in a certain way because of her jealousy.
Well, I think she let it get too in the way at the end. But
I think Isabella ended up being a bit evil there at the end with that wink that she gives. I mean,
the doll.
Yeah. So there's no perfect character. And so a lot of times it makes it hard as an audience to enjoy the ride, if you will, because you're not able to attach yourself to any of these characters. You're not able to root for anybody. The contrast, though, Emerald does a great job of using color as a contrast of what's going on in the film. I think that obviously she made Wuthering Heights like this sad, droopy place that foggy, and when Margot Robbie's character, Catherine, whatever, gets out of that situation, she is surrounded by things that she's not used to, but still can't find happiness in it because Heathcliff has gone. And so even though she's getting everything that she thought she wanted from the beginning of her life, this is everything she dreamed about, with Heathcliff being gone, she can't enjoy any of it. And so I loved the wall in her room, the squishy the skin wall, or it's not really skin, but the way that they decorated her room.
Yeah.
They were like, this is your freckle. And there's like, you could see veins. And it was
it's like skin color, and it's got veins, and it's got a freckle.
Yeah. So emerald fennel all over the place. I mean, that's, so, and the costumes were not period accurate. Like, there were so many things that I think people were upset about with
That's
this
something
adaptation.
I like. I just don't. That's one aspect I don't care about.
Well, no, I don't, but
as long as
purists
it
would.
looks like something that I think would
Yeah.
be kind of old fashioned but fancy or whatever, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily care about it. Look, I liked the movie a lot. I think people are probably frustrated by the Charlie XCX music included. I love it though. I love it. I don't care.
Think that's one of the worst part.
Anytime I love that stuff.
Anytime her voice appears on the movie, I was like, I just don't want this as part of the score.
Dude, there's this one part in the middle of the film that was basically a music video that I marked out so hard for. I was just like, this is awesome. I don't care. I know people are probably going to hate this movie, but I don't care. I love it.
I didn't hate the movie. But I did kind of find it okay. For what it was. It's not my type of film, obviously.
No, I mean, normally it wouldn't be, but I was really into it.
I think that Emerald Fennell's, and I still have not seen Saltburn, so I shouldn't say this, I guess, but I think her best movie is Promising Young Woman still.
Yeah.
But on a technical level, this may be her best work.
I think so. I think so.
Just all the sets, all the costumes, all the, the way they captured it all.
Yeah, I don't know what the budget on this was.
Huh?
The budget was pretty high, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I think it's 80 million last I checked.
You know what though? That's not that bad. For the way this looks, it's not that bad of a budget, really. That's a lower budget than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be over 100.
It could make its money back if you do 2.5 rule, which is what people do. You need 200 million basically, so it's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know how well it'll do internationally. I know Charlie XCX has a pretty big fan base overseas, and as much as people are frustrated with her music being included in this, I think that she's actually going to draw some people out to see it. Mm-hmm. It was a younger crowd. I'm trying to remember the crowd that was there. It was definitely a younger crowd, like college-aged crowd that was going to see this, and I really think that is the Charlie XCX sort of inclusion. If this had just been scored like a normal movie, I don't know that the excitement would be there the same way. There'd be the book people that go see this because it's a Wuthering Heights adaptation. Whenever there's an adaptation like a Pride and Prejudice or something like that, there's the book crowd that goes to see it. But the problem is this is definitely not a book adaptation. The character names are the same.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of important things that are apparently left out of this particular version that make a lot more sense to the characters and whatnot. I think the guy that played the dad was great. He was, as far as being evil, he was really good at being evil. The guy that played Catherine's dad and I guess Heathcliff's adopted father or whatever. So yeah. The book apparently has Heathcliff taken in almost to be a servant, though, not to be an equal.
Not her pet.
Not her. Yeah, that was so weird, wasn't it? I mean, there's a
well, later on he gets a pet. So
yes, he does. A willing pet, a very willing pet.
Bark.
Yes, exactly. So I guess between the two films, I saw them both on the same night. I think that I liked them both equally for different reasons. Wuthering Heights, definitely the more flashy of the two, but Crime 101 is a good classic crime drama that we don't often get in theaters anymore. And unfortunately, I think the budget is going to continue that trend. Or what it makes. Like I think it's not going to do well financially, and so Crime 101 probably we're gonna not see many crime dramas in theaters anymore. So, which is unfortunate. I think they're good. They're great every once in a while, but
and what you have to remember is that is a movie made by a streaming company essentially, and streaming companies will front end the budget, so they'll say, "Oh, your cast, you get paid up front," whereas Wuthering Heights, you get a big cast, but those people get back end if it makes money.
Right, right. Especially if they're a producer, which I can't remember if I saw Margot Robbie as a producer of it. But a lot of times, like what she'll do is
I'm pretty sure she is.
She'll produce the film also, so she'll make even more money on the back end if it does well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Lucky Chap produced it, and that's
okay. So that she'll do all right. I think, like you said, it's tracking a little lower than anticipated at this point, but I think that by the end of its run, because there's really not much coming until Project Hail Mary that's going to challenge it too much in the box office as far as big flashy movies. But there's a certain crowd that it's not going to waste their time seeing Wuthering Heights. I mean, it is what it is. You know what we forgot to do on our off the shelf? We totally
I thought I'd make the audience wait. No, I was thinking about that too. But your pick for off the shelf.
Week, so my pick for off the shelf is a movie from 1970 something. It's a 70s film. It's a little movie called Silent Running.
Okay.
Directed by Douglas Turnbull, who is more known for being a visual effects pioneer. He not much like on the directing side. It stars Bruce Dern. It's set, obviously it's a science fiction film, so it's set in an Earth that has no flora or fauna left. So there's obviously been some event that has caused the Earth to suffer in that way. So what remains of it is on this ecosystem aboard a fleet of greenhouses. So you've got a bunch of spaceship greenhouses things, and the crew is ordered to destroy it for whatever reason. And Bruce Dern's character says, I ain't doing that. So it's rated G. So obviously, I don't know what that necessarily means. In the 70s, G was a little bit different than it's probably closer to a PG film.
Good change of pace, though, because this episode was entirely R-rated.
Yes, this episode was entirely R-rated. This Silent Running, you can rent it. It's not going to be on a streaming service, but you can rent it for $3.99, or perhaps go to your local library and maybe they will have a copy of Silent Running. This is just another one. Like we talked about this off the shelf thing, blind buy. Like I saw the cover looked really cool.
It does.
It's just like
Arrow Video.
It's Arrow Video. It's AV 477 for anyone keeping track of their numerology. But I've got the 4K of it, so you got the black case. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this. Douglas Turnbull did the special effects, or he was the special effects pioneer for Andromeda Strain, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So he's a guy that is known around like the late 70s, early 80s as being quite important when it comes to visual effects. He didn't direct much though. This was one of his he only directed maybe like 2 or 3 films. So,
and our focus next week, there's not a lot of big stuff coming out next week. I thought for now we can tentatively say Psycho Killer, but
I'm going to go see the Glenn Powell movie.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Is that even going to be out in my area? We'll find out.
We don't know. Yeah. So I don't have much interest in seeing Psycho Killer, but
me either, really.
I'm definitely going to go see the Glenn Powell movie, which I can't believe I can't recall the name of it off the top of my head. It's got a weird title, so I'm going to give myself a
the art. It's like The Art of Killing.
How to Make a Killing.
How to Make a Killing. Yeah.
So this is one that A24 must not be confident about at all, because they are not advertising it at all. There's been a preview that has been released. The preview actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, it looked interesting.
Did it say it was based on a true story? Which would be absolutely wild if it was. But I think that I read somewhere that it was based upon a true story. Let me see.
Loosely inspired by the 1949 British film Kind Hearts and Coronets.
Interesting. So it's directed by John Patton Ford.
Loosely based on a novel.
A lot of people like John Patton Ford because he did that movie Emily the Criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same director as Emily the Criminal. This one's got Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley, Ed Harris, Topher Grace, Jessica Henwick, Bill Camp, great character actor, Bill Camp. So it's got a pretty good cast. I don't understand A24 sometimes. like they will put a lot of advertising into stuff like The Moment, or movies like that they feel like maybe but will make money. But I'm like, Glenn Powell is on the top of his career right now. Why are you not advertising this more? Like, why are you not putting more marketing into How to Make a Killing? But anyways, it's coming out next week, so I don't know if it's a super wide release, but it's coming to Birmingham, so I'm going to go see it.
I think I found a way to see it, so I'll try to make that happen, and that could be our focus next week.
Yeah, look, go see a Glenn Powell movie, people. Don't go see Psycho Killer. Go see How to Make a Killing. It's another movie about a bunch of murder. But you should go see the Glenn Powell one instead.
Yeah, and Margaret Qualley.
Hey, and Margaret Qualley, exactly.
Andy McDowell's daughter. Yeah,
Margaret Qualley away from the Coen brothers is good.
Oh Lord, not Coen brothers, the brother.
Well, the brother, one of them, yes. Exactly.
Maybe the less talented at this point.
Apparently so.
Where can people find you on social media, Mike?
I am on X mostly at the Michael Nip. I do hang out on Letterboxd, Michael Nip on there. And then I'm obviously in the Cinema Debrief Discord. That's where I honestly spend most of my time, is in our Discord server.
Me too. You can find me on Twitter at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfun, GRYFUN. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Debrief. And next week, Silent Running and How to Make a Killing.